Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel for Peacefully Wired. My name is Matt, aka Peacefully Wired, and I wanted to talk in this video about OCD is a brain disorder. It is a thing that does exist, and anybody that tells you differently probably means well, but is I don't know if they're uninformed. I don't think they've ever had OCD. I don't think it's simplifying what OCD actually is. The reason why I'm making this video is because I was shown some information recently about someone who is on this platform and on other platforms that doesn't think that OCD is real. And that's nonsense. Before I go any further, please like and subscribe. Comment down below. If you'd like to learn about one-on-one coaching with me, please email support@peacefullywired.com. If you want to join our Peacefully Wired OCD community, please let me know and I will send you a link and show you what that looks like. So I have a student that I started working with, and this student is extremely conflicted about accepting OCD as a brain disorder. They do not want to accept it. Now, we all know, if you watch my content or if you watched other content about OCD, specifically one channel, OCD is a belief disorder. And so her beliefs most likely are centered around how that makes her look as a human being. She's less than because she has a brain disorder. There's something wrong with her. So she has a very hard time accepting it. And because of that, she's susceptible to people like Charles Linden, who is out there telling people that OCD is not a thing and that OCD is just a product of anxiety. Um, Basically saying that if OCD is caused by anxiety, which is backwards because OCD is not considered an anxiety disorder. It's a brain disorder. Okay. And so anxiety can be a product of OCD. All right. Because of the distressing nature of OCD, you can get anxiety. However, I have an OCD brain. I recognize places in my life still because I have an OCD brain, but I'm able to recognize when OCD wants to latch on to things, um, where it creeps up due to beliefs that maybe I still need to work on, or places where I need to have more unconditional acceptance. But I don't feel anxiety anymore on the massive level. Does something give me anxiety for a brief amount of time? Yes. Do I get anxious? I mean, everybody does. If you didn't feel anxious or anxiety about, say a bus coming at you, then you just stand there and let it hit you. Anxiety is a part of your life. You're not ever going to get rid of anxiety. It's all about how you deal with it. But a phobia is considered an anxiety disorder. Okay, and so I have some material in front of me right now because I wanted to make a informed video. I started making a video and I realized as I was looking up some things, there were some things that I didn't understand about phobias. But I wanted to be able to make the distinction because this person is out there telling people that OCD doesn't exist. When you're telling people OCD doesn't exist, you're not allowing people to get what I believe is the proper treatment and the proper protocol to be able to uh, live free from OCD. Not OCD free because it is a brain disorder, but free from OCD, meaning it doesn't have the impact on your life that it once had. Um, so let's look at like what's a phobia and what's OCD. Okay, phobias and OCD, they can look very similar. Okay, which is kind of what I was struggling with when I was talking to my student, because she was like, well, he's just saying this and he's saying that, and how come there's no fear of there's no height OCD or there's no spider OCD? And I was like, initially, well, that's fucking ridiculous, right? But I didn't really have a lot to kind of you know shoot back at her. Well, this is why this is, and it just took me a bit of time to like kind of understand why this is. um, so they're actually very different. Phobias extremely common, fairly common. OCD less common. So 3 to 15% of people have specific phobias at some point in their life. OCD affects about 1 to 3% of the population. So they can coexist. There are distinct, differences between them, right? So I would say, 3 to 15%, 1 to 3%. There's definitely probably way more people with phobias than there are people that have OCD. So phobia is an intense, irrational fear of an object or situation or activity. It's actually out of proportion with the actual danger. Okay, so it could be fear of flying, spiders, heights, needles. They are under the category of an anxiety disorder. And stuff with the amygdala, and then the responses that happen: panic, rapid heartbeat, um, overwhelming urge to escape the situation. All can be a part of what happens when you have OCD too. But OCD is not an anxiety disorder. Okay, obsessions, persistent unwanted thoughts, compulsions, repetitive behaviors, mental acts are performed to reduce anxiety. Okay, it's less about an external object than it is about the internal distress. For an example, if you have HOCD and you are afraid of having intrusive thoughts, images, and urges when you're around men, you're not afraid of men. Okay, you're afraid of the interaction with a man, what's going to go through your mind, how it's going to feel in your body, and what's going to happen from that. It's not that you're fearing the man. You are afraid of, essentially, you're afraid of being gay and the fear of rejection, but you're afraid of what's going to be going on while you're in encountering that. With a phobia, fear of flying, essentially you're afraid of the plane itself, like distress of the plane, but there's there's no deeper underlying fear of why you're just afraid of this thing. Why are you afraid of spiders? Well, why are you afraid of spiders? Spiders are fairly harmless. Are there spiders like a black widow spider that can bite you? Sure. But like a tarantula is not particularly harmful. They can bite you, but it's not poisonous, right? And there's lots of spiders, like, even a wolf spider can bite you, and it's not poisonous and won't kill you, right? But people are deathly afraid of spiders. But why? What's the fear, right? With these things, heights, needles. Like, what's the fear of a needle? Is it the piercing of the skin, or is it just the thought or the sight of a needle, right? With OCD, again, they go into disruption of what part of the brain. None of that's really important. So compulsions and repetitive behaviors are usually what you see with OCD. You don't usually see that in a phobia. A lot of the stuff is avoidance with a phobia, which can happen with OCD. But again, we're avoiding because of the internalness of it, not the external factor. Compulsions and OCD are an attempt to manage intrusive thoughts, right? They're not to avoid a specific object or situation. You're not avoiding men because men scare you, right? Like you're afraid of clowns, right? And my student, again, ridiculous parallel to draw. But I understand where she's coming from. She doesn't want to have OCD. She's very ashamed of it. Okay, people are afraid of clowns. Well, yes, that is a phobia, the sight of a clown. But there's no underlying fear. There might be some trauma. You might have seen some, B horror movie when you were really young where there were killer clowns, and now you're afraid of clowns. Though that's not the same as having OCD. With OCD, you could probably be around a clown, but it would more be about the internal factor that's happening, which can cause, fear and anxiety. But it's not just like, oh, I see a clown and I'm fucked now, right? So let's break it down a little bit more. So let's say someone has a fear of flying. Every time they need to travel, they feel panic just about thinking about boarding the plane, avoids airports, cancels trips to prevent encountering the fear. Okay. Someone with OCD has an intrusive fear of flying because they have a thought that they might cause the crash, right? They get on the plane and they have, an image of the plane going down, and now they're like, oh my God, this plane's going to crash. So now, that person is maybe doing some pattern, they're tapping, okay, or they're counting, or they're just in their mind, like trying to work it out, like this isn't going to happen. It's not a fear of the plane, okay? It's just distressing thought about something bad happening. So that's the distinguishing difference. This pen could give me fear. I could look at this pen and I'm deathly afraid of the pen, right? Versus I'm looking at the pen. I'm not necessarily afraid of the pen. I'm afraid of what thoughts the pen is giving me. Okay? I'm afraid of the thoughts and the urges and sensations that the pen is giving me. I don't look at pen and go, oh no, right? I look at the pen as an OCD sufferer, and the pen is causing me to have intrusive thoughts. But I don't get the fear initially from the pen, right? That's a huge difference. And again, just People have told me I'm dangerous for saying some of the things that I've said. There's only one way to recover from OCD. I truly believe that. There is a one way. It encounters a lot of things. There's a lot of things in that you need to do. It's not just one thing. And a lot of the time, it's my inability to communicate properly. Okay, it's my one of my weaknesses is my ability to communicate. Okay, and I have a hard time uh, taking what's going here and putting it out. Okay. Sometimes this is going and I'm like trying to say what I think I mean, but it's hard to describe it sometimes. So I'll say things like there is one way to recover from OCD, and people take that and go, that's the only, you can't say that. And it's like, well, what I actually mean is there's a pie, like this peace sign behind me, right? And there are fractions of the pie that you need to do to recover from OCD. Meaning, yes, ERP is a part of that pie. Understanding thoughts are just thoughts is a part of that pie. Not not using it in a way of reassurance, but just understanding that concept, right? But there's also cutting compulsions. There's also universal unconditional self-life and other acceptance, changing and disputing your beliefs, developing a deep level of empathy. I'd say those are like 6 key things. So when I say there's one way, that one way is encompassing all these things. And I don't just want to sit here and argue with people in comments about what I actually mean, but I have been called dangerous and stuff like that. So, Charles Linden, you are dangerous for saying this to people. Okay. And I'm lucky enough that I had a student that had some of your material in this nonsense idea that OCD is a product of anxiety. It's not even an anxiety disorder. It's backwards. Anxiety, OCD can cause anxiety. Okay. And all I had to do is, again, explain. I have OCD. I used to have severe anxiety about my relationship, about being gay. Okay. I no longer have that anxiety. Do I have intrusive thoughts from time to time? Yes, about lots of different things. Okay. The difference is they don't cause me a severe amount of anxiety because I have changed my beliefs and I have developed acceptance, unconditional acceptance about all of the things that I have been afraid about in my life. So I hope that this clears up some air for any of you out there that are wondering if OCD is actually a thing. Yes, it is. It is a brain disorder. Google brain scans of a normal brain versus an OCD brain, and you will see there is a quite difference. Now, the brain of somebody with a phobia, my guess is, will light up, maybe similar to an OCD brain when shit's going down. But I think that an OCD brain, if you just scanned it normally, maybe mine now probably would be a little bit different. Maybe it might look more like a normal brain, but I would guess a phobia brain might be maybe a little bit similar to a normal brain. And then when they get exposed to that fear, then it lights up. With an OCD brain, I think you'd find that the scan is different. Again, I haven't taken a brain scan versus when I was really suffering versus now. I'm not going to pay for that. Those are extremely expensive, and I don't really need to fucking know, to be honest with you. But I mean, there's even some literature in here about what parts of the brain a phobia, a phobia is, what activates a phobia, what part of the brain, and with OCD, the same. Again, none of those things are important. You don't need to know those things. But you do need to know that OCD is a brain disorder. It is a thing. It is not just a phobia. It's not just anxiety. There's a totally different mechanism in a way that affects your brain and affects your life. And I'm not taking anything away from phobias. Phobias affect your life as well. They are just different, okay? And there is OCD. It does exist. To say that it doesn't exist, that's fucking dangerous to me, okay? That's dangerous. And you need to stop, Mr. Linden, okay? I know you think you've had some epiphany where you believe I've cracked this code, I cured myself. There is no cure for OCD. If you ever had OCD on the chronic level, you would know that. There is no cure. There's only recovery. I know you want to think there is. I know you have well intentions, but you need to stop telling people that OCD is not a real thing, all right? Please and thank you. And again, please like and subscribe. If you want to learn about one-on-one coaching with me, support at peacefullywired.com. And if you want to learn about our OCD community, private OCD community that's not on social media, please let me know and I will send you the link. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.